Greetings. This is the Mad Hermit with you once again for another reading installment. And today, what we're going to read is something a little different from the usual venue. It's not going to be an actual poem per se. It's actually 1 Corinthians chapter 13, which is a passage from the Bible, which is from the book of Corinthians, obviously. And some of you might ask why the sudden change of venue. Well, this is in light of some events that's been happening on the Mad Hermit. I'm going to explain that later after I read the passage. But before we go any further and before I ramble too long, I'll be reading 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I have become sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, but have not love, it profits me nothing. Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy, love does not parade itself, is not puffed up, does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked, thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth. Bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails, but whether there are prophecies, they will fail. Whether there are tongues, they will cease. Whether there is knowledge, it will vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect has come, then that which is in part will be done away. When I was a child, I spoke as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I know just as I also am known. And now abide faith, hope, love, these three, but the greatest of these is love. Now, for those of you who isn't familiar with this passage, who've probably heard this passage before in countless weddings, but never really understood the context, basically, it may come off as a simple poem, a simple work about love, the definition of love. It might come off as a very romantic work, and in many ways it is a romantic work, and it is a work that defines what love is. But the point is, for those of you who do know the Bible and who know the context of this passage, basically what the book of Corinthians is basically a letter from the Apostle Paul towards the church of Corinth, which is a church located in the province of Achaia, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, which is in Greece. Now, Corinth was a very metropolitan city. It was a port city, very rich in trade, very wealthy city. And the church of Corinth itself was a church that was very talented. It was gifted with many talented people with many spiritual gifts. Now, what happened is, or one of the things that started happening is that some of these people with many talents, some of these people who were very gifted, began to use their gifts in unwholesome ways. Namely, one of the ways they used it was to lord it over other people. Was to use gifts as a means of declaring value over other people. That because I have this gift or that gift, or because I have this amount of gifts or that amount of gifts, I'm better than this person over there. And the thrust of what Paul was trying to say in chapter 13 was, yes, you may have all these gifts. Yes, you may have this gift that might be wonderful and amazing. But the point is, if you don't have love, if you don't have any love for your fellow brothers and sisters in Christ, and all that is for nothing, no matter how many talents you might have, if you don't have any concept of what love is at all, then it's all a waste. Now, the reason why I bring this up is in light of what's been happening. Actually, from the last video blog entry that I put up, which was a poetry reading on William Butler Yeats's He Wishes for the Claws of Heaven. Now, when I originally recorded it, I didn't expect that many responses from it. In fact, I only expected only a handful. responses from the people out there who visit my blog, but thanks to a few friends I befriended over the YouTube community, word got out, and within the next day I received a wave of positive response and positive reviews. And for those of you who responded and commented, I thank you so much. I owe a huge debt of gratitude for many people out there, and I'm very glad and very honored to encourage those people out there who might have listened to my reading, and I hope that it helps them in their day-to-day walk in life. And the point is why I suddenly chose to read 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and comment on it was that, yes, for some of you out there, I might seem to have lots of talent, or you might see other people out there who might have lots of talent. But the point is, the reason why I do this is not to parade myself. I mean, perhaps maybe there's some sick, twisted version inside me that might be doing it for that reason, but besides the point, if I do all these things, and, you know, people might see me as talented, but I don't have any concept of any passion of why I do these things, or this thing in particular, or if I don't do these things out of love for those people out there who I want to reach, who I want to encourage, who I want to at least, you know, make something better in their lives for. If I'm not doing this to have that love for the Creator that gave me these gifts and talents, for God, then all of this is really worthless. And the point of why I'm making this video entry now is not just to remind myself, but to just tell other people is that, you know, I may have all the talents in the world, but the point is, if I don't have any love, then this is for naught. And the reason why I do this is I just want to make, you know, the world a slightly better place for those out there who listen. And again, I thank you for everyone's response. And I just say this also to those people out there who also make video blogs and post it on YouTube with poetry readings or whatnot, to also consider that fact. That yes, you might have a particular gift that you want to show off, and yes, you might have a particular talent, or you might consider that you might not have any talents at all, but it's not whether or not you have talent or not, it's the fact that what's your reason of why you post these things on the net? You have to ask yourself that seriously. Do you do it just to parade yourself, or do you do this because you actually have a love of not only doing what you do, but an actual care and consideration for those people out there that you want to touch? And if you are a believer, whether or not you're really doing this because you love God and the one creator, the one artist, the one poet who gave you the gift to do the things that you are doing now. Think about that. Because in this world where it's YouTube, MySpace, it's very easy to think about you, me, become self-centered in that, and mistake something altruistic for something that's selfish. I just wanted to point it out, and I think it's important that we all realize that and contemplate that. Now, for those of you who want to read 1 Corinthians chapter 13 for yourself, I posted the entire passage on my blog. It's located right below the video blog entry that I've included. It's the New King James Version. And for those of you who want to see a very artfully done, very magnificent reading of 1 Corinthians chapter 13, I met this one individual on YouTube. His name is Samuel Godfrey George. And so just type his name in on YouTube. I've included his name in my blog. And you can go look at that YouTube posting of it. And he does a magnificent job at reading it. So for those of you who want to comment, again, feel free to comment and post and ask me questions. And before I ramble any further and use up my YouTube time, I would like to just sign off. This is Mad Hermit signing off with you once again, and happy reading.